Are you?
Not bad. One moment here.
Okay.
There we go. All right.
Sorry. Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Sure, no problem. Hopefully, I won't take too much of your time.
Yeah, no worries. I just got in the door, so
Okay.
but I'm all set. So.
Okay, good, good. And I'm sure you've probably had these questions a million times, so it'll probably be easy for you.
We'll see. I'll do
Well,
my
thank
best.
you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, so, after almost a 10-year hiatus, the band's back together. So obviously, I've been, being trolled by people on Reddit because I've asked people what questions I should ask, and they all want to know why did they stop in 2015 and what brought them back and who was the first one to reach out.
Huh. Um, 20, well, really it kind of started around, I guess 2014 we consciously, or maybe end of 2013 even, we kind of got together and just sort of assessed where we were as a band, as individuals, and things had kind of felt stagnating in the touring world. Opportunities were kind of not really what they used to be. Somewhat underwhelming. Um, there'd been talk in the past about taking a break for a little while, just kind of doing our own thing for a little bit, and then getting back to it at some point. But just kind of taking a breather and then reassessing later on. But we never ended up doing that. And then um, 2014 felt like at that time was just all right. Let's just kind of sit back and now actually take a break. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold still, so
Oh boy.
voice is cracking a little bit. Um, but so we took 2014 off for the most part, with the exception of doing a couple of one-offs here and there. Um, and then we kind of reconvened in 2015, and sounded like in that time, some of the guys had gone and done, had gone and caught up on some, gone to school. Other guys had done stuff with their family businesses,
Yeah.
and so on. Ash continued on, or kind of fully joined Revocation playing
Revocation.
drums, and so he kind of just went full on into that. And we all sort of worked jobs of various types in that time, and then when we reconvened, it the vibe was still not, overall was not feeling like we wanted to get the band like start playing again. So, and in fact, it was the opposite. It was I've got this career going. I've got this family business that I'm sort of taking over with other family, and I want to pursue other things musically anyway. And so I guess we just sort of decided to call it a day, more or less. Um, and then it took a little bit of time and some convincing of a couple of individuals to even do some final shows. Um, it after some discussion, didn't really take. It wasn't really like pulling teeth or anything. It was like, okay, yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
We should probably uh, give our hometown a send off of some sort. So we did that, and then it was like we stayed friends, but we didn't talk really about the band at all for a long time. Uh, the lone exception being we played Justin's wedding, did a couple of songs in say like
Mm.
2017 or so, 20, or no 2019. Yeah, sort of end of 2019. We got together, jammed, did a couple songs at Justin's wedding, but that was it.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, and then it was Justin actually who called me up one day and said, um, Cam, I've been writing these songs for his other project, Ritual Dictates, um, and he's taken that project kind of all over the place
Mhm.
musically, and he was kind of coming back to playing more like true metal stuff and getting inspired to write that sort of stuff again.
He
And,
missed it.
and he
Yeah.
said these would actually probably be good 3 inches songs. He had songs that riff ideas that he intended for 3 inches of blood years ago, but we didn't end up getting around to using them. So he's always kind of had stuff in the bank. He's very creative like that. And I said, well, okay, why don't you and I get together and talk about it? And so we had a good long, like, came over to my place. We talked for a good few hours about the possibility. I was always open to the idea, but I don't know, for whatever reason, I didn't want to be the one to kind of bring it up.
Right.
I wanted to just sort of feel the vibe if there was any, and if something were to be like, oh, hey, should we talk about doing this again? Which incidentally Justin did, and he called me and we talked, and we more or less found out we were on the same page in how we wanted what we wanted to do if we brought the band back, and what we didn't want to do with it, and we were pretty much on the same page. And so then when we got together with the other guys, it was pretty much all, we were all on the same wavelength.
Almost like
And
you guys never separated almost. It's like,
well, yeah, I mean, like I said before, like we were always friends,
yeah,
and there was never any bad blood. It was more just like, let's put it to rest for now. Things are kind of, uh, you know, the music biz was what it was at the time, and it was really hard to kind of deal with that. So let's just see where our lives go in that time. But back then, like 2015, we weren't thinking this was just a hiatus. We were thinking, okay, that's it.
yeah,
I think creatively, a lot of us felt tapped out, and we wanted to do other stuff. So, come to around late 2022 or so, when Justin and I started talking. And then we got all the guys together. Nick, our bass player, lives in Seattle, and so we arranged with him to come up here to Vancouver and jam with us a couple days. And not really preparing any songs in particular, more just kind of getting in the room and just let the muscle memory kick in, and just see how it feels, and if we can sort of recapture some sort of vibe. And it was fun. We had a good couple of days just going like, okay, what do you want to play next? And then just someone calling out a song, and then just kind of seeing how well we remember it.
yeah,
And just jamming, really, like not really rehearsing, but just jamming.
yeah,
And so we did that a bunch of times, and then finally we said, okay, this feels good. We know these songs. It wasn't really hard to relearn them or anything. So let's start planning something. And that's what led to us organizing our first shows in Vancouver. Just coming up on, well, a year next week. It'll be
oh, wow.
when we had our first shows back. So, but there was a whole like year and a bit of planning that just went into that.
Yeah. It's interesting because you said that you felt, or some people may have felt that you were a little burned out creatively and that a break was needed. Um, does that mean you're recharged now and we might be able to see some new music coming out soon or
Yeah,
sometime?
I think so, because Justin had proposed to get the band back together, and he had some song ideas. So there's already ideas floating around there. Unfortunately, we haven't had the time with all of our schedules now, because I think we all work, I think what you might call career jobs nowadays.
Mhm.
So, and that it wasn't really the case 8 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess now 9 years ago now, but um, so with everyone sort of being like in different cities, and even the guys who live sort of close in the Vancouver area, like we're still pretty spread out. Ash is on tour with Revocation quite a bit, and he's off
Mhm.
doing. He was uh, playing gigs with Marty Freeman in Asia, like
Mhm.
earlier in 2024. So um, being able to just get together and practice for upcoming shows was hard enough. But I think we all want to get together and actually try and write some stuff, and hopefully have
Mhm.
something out this year, a song or two at least, something to like let people know, like, but we're working on stuff.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
there's desires there. It's being able to get everyone together.
the
Um,
logistics. Yeah. Yeah.
Logistics of being in different cities and work schedules and whatnot.
Yeah.
So,
Are you all in Canada? With the exception of probably Ash, because he's
um,
traveling.
with the exception of Nick, yeah,
Oh,
we're all
Nick.
in
Okay.
Canada. Ash, well, literally, Ash right now is in Japan,
Yeah.
just being a tourist. But otherwise, yeah, we all reside in Canada except Nick, who lives a couple hours away in Seattle.
Yeah. Okay. You'd mentioned that you guys were hoping to get together and do some writing for some new songs. Who's the one that spearheads that? Are you the lead lyricist, or is it a collaborative effort?
Lyric wise, yeah. Justin and I obviously work together on stuff because he sings as well. Um, but yeah, primarily it's been me. Um, Especially since Jamie Hooper left the band a number of years ago. But I always wrote my own parts, anyways.
Yeah.
But there, even with Jamie gone and Justin singing now in his place, um, when we're writing new stuff, there's still a sort of collaborative effort with the other vocalists to just kind of coordinate what each other is doing in the song.
Yeah.
And then musically, it's like I can't play guitar to save my life, so I don't write the riffs. I can write stuff in my head, but
Yeah.
the other guys are far more competent than me, anyways, at that. So
Yeah, for the riffs. Oh yeah, for sure. I I know that the one thing they can't do is the falsetto that you do. And I know that when I've had a couple of my friends listen to Deadly Sinners, and I think their jaws hit the ground. And it's like because I have friends who are like they like Depeche Mode, they like The Cure. And so well, listen to this, and I'll play you, I'll play Y&T, I'll play King Diamond, and they freak out. And so I was like, so you sound you said you're just getting away from a cold. Are you going to be good enough for us in San Francisco on the
oh
25th?
yeah, I think so. I mean, I've been
Okay.
getting over this bug for like a couple weeks. It's more just like chest congestion.
Yeah.
It's not like a
Well, I'll get you
full
some tea.
blown.
We'll make sure you're set up nice in San Francisco.
Yeah. Hopefully,
Because
it's more just like a lingering cough at this point. But
yeah.
yeah, it's all good.
Well, how do you keep your voice um able to do that? Like, what are there things that you have to do to practice to keep the falsettos to be able to go high? And is there like a secret to it, or is it just something that comes naturally for you?
Yeah, I don't do anything complicated as far as warm ups. As long as I get a couple of rehearsals at least before a show, then I'm good. Because if I've gone a while without practicing, then that first jam is like I got to kind of take it easy and make sure I don't go too hard because then at the end of the jam I'm pretty hoarse or whatever. But
Yeah.
if I practice again the next day, then it's usually fine. And
Yeah.
a proper sound check helps as well, and not being sick as well. I've definitely like done tours where I've been sick, and the wrong kind of cold can make it really really bad. Like
Yeah.
I've lost my voice a couple of times.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty scary. Well,
Hmm. It sucks, but the show
yeah,
must go on, and you sort of do your
yeah,
best.
yeah. No, and like I said, you'll be playing San Francisco on the 25th. I think Los Angeles on the 24th. You're calling it the California Conquest. We're very excited. I'll be in the front row, so I'm very
Awesome.
excited. The San Francisco one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mentioned Deadly Sinners. That's one of my favorite songs. Do you have a favorite song on anything that you've done on the your 20th anniversary album, Advance and Vanquish, or any album?
Well, that's like saying who's your favorite child,
Oh, I only have one
or in
child,
my
so it's easy.
case, I have three dogs, and who's your
Okay.
favorite dog? Um, I'm proud of our entire catalog. Some songs get a bigger response than others live. Obviously, Deadly Sinners is without a doubt our most well known song,
Yeah.
our most anthemic track, and the song that kind of introduced us to a broader audience more impactfully anyway than I think any other song did.
Mm.
So I'm very very proud of that song and what it's done and how it's exposed us to millions of people. I assume millions of people around the
Oh
world.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
but a shitload of people around the world and
Yeah.
who'd never heard of us before. So
Yeah.
um, that's a very special song.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there a special meaning for it when it was written
Um,
or anything behind it?
Not particularly. It was sort of by accident. We were some of us were walking into a there's a music store up here in Canada called Long and McQuaid, and it's
Okay.
like the Guitar Center of Canada, more or less,
Okay.
big chain that's nationwide. And the we were renting a Marshall amp, and there was some guy working the counter, the rental counter. It was this old British guy, and he started saying like, "Oh yeah," he was showing us this like Fender like twin combo amp thing, um, and then he sort of looked and Todd's extolling the virtues of it, and then he looks at us and sees we're renting like we're renting a Marshall amp, like we're a rock and roll band, and then he sort of stops, he sort of looks at us, and he's like, "Wait, what am I talking about? You guys look like you're in a band called Deadly Sinners or something." And a light bulb went off, and I was like, "That's a great title. I'm gonna use that."
That's
So,
awesome. That's awesome. I do have to ask, who is your favorite dog?
oh, I don't have a
I won't
favorite.
tell them. No.
Well,
I saw one right next to you, so I
oh,
had to ask. I
oh
saw
yes,
look at
this
that baby.
this is Angus. He's
Angus. Oh, of course it is.
he's my special number one handsome boy.
Yep. Oh
He's an
my
old
God, it's
man though.
beautiful.
He's 11 years old, but he's doing great.
It's French Bulldog?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have three
That's awesome.
Frenchies.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
My friend just bought a gray or a silver one,
Oh
and
yeah.
it already had to have nose surgery, and it
Oh
cost her like
no.
$5,000.
Oh
I said, "Oh, are you glad you got it now?" She's like, "Absolutely, it's my baby." So,
yeah.
oh,
Well, they
hello,
are.
Angus.
They
Yeah,
are babies.
yep,
Angus.
that's
Say hi.
awesome. Hi, Angus. Who's a good boy? He's like me.
Yeah. He's sleepy. He's an old man.
Yeah. Well,
But
I was just going to ask you what your hobbies and interests are outside of music, and your three babies. Is there anything else that you do in your downtime when you're relaxing and not working a career job or playing?
um I like to watch hockey. That's I I like to get together with some group of friends and play various games like Dungeons and Dragons or Risk,
Ooh.
Settlers of Catan, things like that. So,
Oh my God, those are my
you
three
know,
favorites.
like a little bit of a gamer nerd. I play my PlayStation and that
Yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah. Okay.
um,
That sounds
yeah,
good to
hang out
me.
with,
So,
go take my dogs for walks and
yeah.
with the wife and
Yeah.
pretty simple.
Yeah, that's awesome. I interviewed another band a couple months ago, and he and his wife like to lay on the beach and they put their AirPods in, and they live in Mexico. And I said, "Well, what's in the AirPods?" And he's a deathcore singer. And I said, "So what do you listen to?" And he's all the Bee Gees. I was like, "Okay." I said, "I guess you draw your inspiration from anywhere." He's like, "No, we like the 70s disco era." So
Right.
what music do you listen to when you're not listening to your music?
Oh, all kinds of stuff. I mean, generally old school metal.
Yeah.
But I like all kinds of non-metal stuff. I like ELO, like Gordon Lightfoot, um, tons of classic rock. I like Neil Diamond. You know,
Yeah. Gotta love Neil
um,
Diamond. That's a prerequisite for anything.
yeah. I think I'm a lot more open-minded now than I was when I was a little kid. Um, Although when I was very young, my parents got me into classical music, and so I definitely have an appreciation for classical music. Mozart being my favorite composer,
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
uh, but I like the greats: Mozart, Beethoven, Wagner, etc. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, maybe we'll get to hear some influences on your next album or something.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're not. I'm curious to see what the guys have. I've heard a few riffs kind of bounced around. Just guys have shared through email and stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of the great thing about these guys is that their influences are so varied that um, it'll be. I mean, I'm sure it'll be like when we were writing before, like bringing what we bring into the room and then seeing how each other kind of plays off the other guy's ideas.
Yeah. Oh, that
So
would be good.
interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Well, like I said, the California Conquest is the 24th and 25th of this month, so you guys will be here in California. And is there anything with the live show that we should expect? That any surprises or any maybe a hint of new music, or are you going to play the any albums in its entirety, like Advance and Vanquish?
We no, we've been 2024 we were celebrating Advance and Vanquish 20th anniversary. These shows will sort of be, I think, the last of the celebrating of that one, and specifically where we've been not playing the entire album, but basically like three-quarters of it. So a majority of and focusing on that album pretty heavily, and then mixing in all the other albums, songs from the other albums in there as well.
That'll be great. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I know I just went over my time, so I apologize for that.
Yeah,
But
no problem.
I did want to ask the question about the dogs, though, because that one I saw his peeking his little head over there, so I had to ask.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, I appreciate your time. And is there anything you want to leave with the people that subscribe to my channel? Like any parting words of wisdom?
Um, let's see. Uh, keep keep on trucking.
That works. I was like, keep on rocking, but that works. So
Keep rocking. Stay metal, and hope to see you. Hope to see you out there.
yeah, I appreciate that. And thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
All right, take care.
All right.
Bye bye.